Awesome.
Rock and roll.
All right, guys, it is Friday, June 9th already. I can't believe it's already June 9th. So excited to be kicking off the next FYR Friday, and we've got a special guest with us, Rich Tomasini. So everybody probably knows who Rich is, but I'll give you a little background. Rich has been in real estate for 473 years, or give or take. That's right. He's actually 18, and you can see what I did to his hair. But now Rich grew up in a kind of a real estate involved family, right? Doing appraisals and that kind of stuff with his dad. His dad had a company, and got into doing fix and flips, and then did a whole bunch of real estate business himself as an entrepreneur. And then got into the sales side of things and blew it up, became one of the top producing agents. You were with Lake Norman Realty, I think, and
Yeah. Yeah, no, Remax before.
Remax, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, so top producing agents, and built a really big business. And as what happens with a really big business, there's also a really big burnout. That comes with that, because there's a lot. And real estate is it's a hamster wheel, and that's one of the coolest things about the revenue share opportunity is it gives you that chance. And Rich has got some cool videos out there. You may have seen him about the 3 lanes on the highway and all that kind of stuff. So he really saw the opportunity here to build something different and create a different life. And one of the things that I love about Rich is he puts his family first, and that is really, really cool. I think that's it's easy to get caught up. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness and all the other stuff, and to focus on those priorities and remember why we're doing it is really cool. So the great news is you can be successful at this and have a life. And that's really what Rich, our group is FYR, right? Fund Your Reason. FYR is the name of our group, and that's what we do. So we focus on our reason, what's driving us, what's important to us, and then we go fund it using this without losing sight of that reason, right? So that's what we're about. So Rich is one of the co-founders of Family Tree, which you guys I know are all pretty active in there. I know a lot of you guys utilize that group a lot. Pretty amazing. And really has just done a lot in teaching and helping others. And along the way, I've been able to count Rich as a friend. And for sure. So I'm just, Rich, I appreciate you being here. So I just wanted to kind of make sure everybody knows the stuff that you've gone through from a production. You're closing in on 3,000 people, I think, in your group.
No, more like 2,500. I wish it was 3,000. It's tough these days.
Well, 2,500 is still a pretty good number, man. Everyone would be very happy with 2,500. And it's a great opportunity. So, I have questions, but I feel like with everything that you do, I would prefer to just let you rock and roll. And then if we ever run out of stuff, which I don't think we will, I'll prompt you with questions. But I'm going to hand it over to you and let you share with the group, what's on your heart and mind, and what they can do. And then if you have any questions on direction, just let us know. But I know you well. You can rock and roll with it. So take it.
No. Thanks for having me, Dave. It's always a yes for you, man. Anything we can work together on, I'm excited about. So nice to meet everybody here. I want to get into basically, so I'm not much of a coach. I can sometimes be a motivator by accident, but I'm not really much of a coach. I'm mostly a consultant. So growing up doing appraisals and working on the numbers side of the business, which by the way, my C personality type is so low. I don't know if I even register, but somehow through no other options, I was able to focus for little short intervals. And with the appraising background, I just learned how to give information. So I think coaches extract a lot out of you. I'm more of a consultant. I just kind of train, all right, and give you what I find to be filtered nuggets of things that work, despite the 10,000 mistakes of determining what works and what doesn't. So I like to train just for 2 or 3 minutes on basically what kind of conversations you can have. I hear a lot of stories at these things, and they're awesome. And sometimes I'm inspired, and sometimes I'm tuned out. But I want to give you guys things that you can actually pick up on this call and implement in 5 minutes. Okay. So I trained martial arts, and I feel like, spinning back kicks are great for mirrors and parents in the chairs. But if you can kick someone in the groin in the parking lot and grab your keys and get to your car, that is probably the most effective martial arts there is, right? So we're going to basically work on very simple, basic things that move people's heads from "I'm too busy to listen to you" to "well, hold on a second, What did you say? All right. So right now, this is a very good week to be training because I have lots of course material. So is anybody here know an icon agent or looked in the mirror and saw an icon agent? Okay. All right. So for a lot of us, we're around icon agents, and either that's intimidating, or you have some kind of inferiority complex where, you're not sure if they'll take you seriously or whatever, right? And all of that stuff is basically just narratives that you've created. And I'm not a psychologist. I got my own bag of crap too. So what I'm trying to do is have you work through it and then maybe hopefully at some point understand it. All right. So I'm at the point of working through it and understanding it in my own mind. And what I've realized is if I get right into being right and right into being confident, it sort of bypasses that whole thought process and that part of the conversation. So the icon conversation is pretty interesting. So when I came over to EXP, I was an icon agent too for 1 year. I got out of production in 1 year at being at EXP. So for any of you guys that are making a few $100 in revenue share and you're like, oh my God, this looks like Mount Everest. I went from 0 to 7 months and went from 0 revenue share to 16,000 a month. Okay. So like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if you would have said, hey, Rich, in 6 months or 7 months, would you go to jail if you could figure out your finances forever? I would have said, lock me up. I'm going tonight. Okay. Except for this was great because I could go home, sleep in the same bed with my wife, see my kids, eat my favorite food. I'd have to wear a uniform I didn't like. I just had to do hard things for 6 months. Okay. So basically, the way that this works is for any icon agent, the conversation sounds like this. Hey, listen, my name is Rich Tomasini. I've been watching you in my periphery. You're doing lots of volume, right? I try to kind of keep some kind of baseline of a horse race in my head of people that are doing a lot of volume because there's a few of us doing most of the business, right? And I just want to explain one simple thing here, 5 seconds. Okay. But in the last 90 days, $30,000 of savings has escaped you because you've been too busy to talk to somebody like me, or you haven't been interested, or you don't know. Everyone's been so intimidated by your prowess to where no one's talked to you. If I iconed in March 2023, March 8th, the stock was at $11.06. Okay. Follow me, guys. I'm going to do very simple math, way simpler than any closing statement that you've seen. Okay. March 8th, I got $16,000 icon back. The stock was trading at 11.06, which means that they gave me 1,446 shares. Make sense? 16,000 divided by the stock price. Okay. So 1,446 shares 90 days ago went from $16,000 sitting in my ShareWorks account to $30,000 today, because 90 days to the minute, the stock closed at $20.91 yesterday. So not only did you miss out on the $16,000 at the antiquated shop, but that money that you didn't get couldn't grow. Money you don't have doesn't do anything, right? So the $16,000 is awesome. And you're probably aware that the top 4 or 5% of EXP agents have this thing called an icon milestone. So you might have some sort of very vague knowledge on that. But what I don't think you're tracking is how that money is also performing once we receive it. So in the last 90 days, $30,000 has been saved for me in this ancillary account while I'm doing the exact same behaviors that you're doing. Pretty interesting concept. Now, I don't want to tell you what's happened to me the last 5.5 years I've been here, because I'm only telling you about one of the 5 ways that we earn stock. And if I tell you about the equity program and all the other ways that I earn stock at this company, you're going to be mad at me and triggered, and you're going to have to go home and take a nap. And I know that we don't have time for that today. We have to get really, really, really small bites on this. Okay. So after I get off the phone with you, because I know you're busy and I know that you're skeptical, I'm going to send you a quick text message that's going to break down a few things. It's going to be a screenshot of the stock on March 8th, a screenshot of the stock on June 8th, 90 days later. And then I'm going to do some basic math, which was your $16,000 cap was gifted back. So you got 1,446 shares. And I'm going to times those shares by the $20.91 that it closed at yesterday when the market shut. And that's $30,000. It's like 29 and change. I'm just rounding up. Okay. Right. So if you want to know about what happened all the many months before the last 90 days, very happy to sit down and talk to you. I'm not even talking to you about commission structure. I'm not talking to you about attracting agents. I'm not talking to you about technology and which firm is better. I'm talking to you about basic compensation, business stuff. Okay. So just a little side lesson on kind of how specific you can get into the conversation. You know, you could preface it and say, look, I know that people buy homes emotionally. They compound every house except for the one that they buy, right? And I know that agents move emotionally. Most agents don't move for 5 or 10 grand or 15 grand. But when we're talking about the accumulation of wealth by being an equity position in your company, this is not 10, 20, 30,000. This isn't a new Camry. We're talking about buying rental properties and all of that stuff, right? So then here's another thing I tell a story about. Back in 2019, I bought a second home in Black Mountain, which is right outside of Asheville, North Carolina. I live in Mooresville, North Carolina. Mooresville's really boring. Everybody wears rhinestones on the back of their jeans and leases, you know, the urban commando Range Rovers. It's a real sleeper town. The mountains are very close to me and it's nice. So I bought this little 100-year-old house. I sold a bunch of stock for like $50 a share. And I put the down payment on the house. The house went up $150,000. I sold it 2 weeks ago. So I made $75,000 net on the income from money that was gifted to me, right? So what does this look like over the course of a career? Well, I've been doing this for 25 years. If I had been getting stock at EXP, I'd have Gene Frederick's boat as my backup boat, right? So this is what it looks like over the course of time. So when you look about all the, like, for example, in Manhattan, we have lifetime renters out there, right? Because the real estate's so expensive. So if you rent, like my grandfather worked for the New York Times, right? And he lived till he's like 84. So from basically when he got out of World War II to 84, he rented some kind of place in one of the 5 boroughs. Imagine the amount of money that he spent in rent if he would have bought investment properties or bought even anything. Have you guys ever looked back in the course of time and said, if I had never sold one piece of real estate because I needed the money to buy something else, I'd probably be worth more than I am now, even though I hustled that money time and time on again, right? So what's happening in these agents' minds is that they're only concerned with short-term income. And what's so cool about EXP is that short-term, we're pretty competitive. You know, intermediate, we're very competitive. Long-term, it's a Ferrari versus a foot race. Okay, so I just want to get you guys into the reps of going after that type of icon agent. Now, I'm going to bleed off for a second, and then we'll do Q&A for the last 10 minutes because nobody likes a monologue when I talk fast, right? So next step here. Once you're dealing with basically the concept of, I want to build out a revenue share organization, we got to kind of come up with like a litmus test of who we're going to go after. Because I've watched and been guilty of building organizations that are no fun to manage, okay? Be careful what you bring into your home, okay? If you're bringing needy people, if you want it more than they do, if they're entitled, if they find all the things that are wrong in the world faster than they find the things that are right, these are people that you're going to have to babysit for a long period of time, but not ever for a lifetime because they won't stay with you. Okay, so I was very clear what I wanted to attract, and that's basically why I have so much growth. I mean, I never brought over, you know, the Dave Knords of the business, right? I brought over everyday hardworking real estate agents that were within 30 miles of my house to start with. And I have 2,400 agents. My next highest person is 730 agents. So it's not like I ran into a hero, okay? What we did is we all were basically everyday performers that learned a new skill together and we developed together. So this is what it looks like for me. I'm only talking to agents that are icon agents. Why is that? Well, I'm not an elitist, trust me, okay? The fact of the matter though is that 10% of the EXP agents are going to get the revenue share and be able to persevere, have the tenacity and fortitude to get through this. And about 90% of the agents are not, right? But I think 100% of the agents that come over dream about this to some varying degree. So I don't want to work on the odds of every agent that I bring over on my front line, 1 out of 10 is able to hit the lottery and 9 out of 10 have to watch that and feel whatever emotions that they recast back to themselves, okay? So what I decided is that if I go after icon agents, everybody's going to win because you're going to get the stock, you're going to have experienced the split, you're going to experience the dividends, you're going to experience what happened to us the last 90 days based on my example earlier. So I want everybody to be able to win at this company. And if you're doing $2 million of business at this company, there's a billion ways you can win because 2 million is more than I do, right? And I'm winning here, right? So it's not about who doesn't win. It's about who's definitely going to win. Like, who's guaranteed to win without changing anything about their personality, anything about their habits, anything about their skill set? So when I bring over icon agents, I have real sticky retention. So I see a lot of people in the alpha influencer, like I'm number 26. I've gone up 9 slots in the last 10 months. And you know why it is? Because I don't have any heroes. None of us are too good to work. So we have a pretty strong team right now. So we're like the money ball. Like everybody hits a single, right? So what happens here is it's pretty cool, is that we have so many millionaires off the stock that it's unbelievable through the icon award, right? And then most likely, if you're going to do revenue share, being an icon makes it a little bit of an easier lift off the block, right? Because everybody is watching you and knows who you are, right? I mean, I know that I grew revenue share easier because I was an icon agent. So when I moved over from a small mom and pop company, my phone rang like I just applied for a mortgage for the first 2 or 3 days. Okay. So icon agents were super important. Second thing, husband, wife, wife, husband, husband, whichever dynamic is going on, as long as they live in the same house and they're doing real estate, those were my people because they could split their cap. That's awesome, right? Another thing, any agent that's on a border, you're on Tennessee, North Carolina, you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, all of these states where we have one person at another company, a small company, because it doesn't warrant Keller Williams to be there, and then they're at a big firm in another state. I said, hey, forget it, man. You can do all your business in all 50 states with one national cap. So those were easy targets, right? The other thing I look for is if they had a background in competitive sports. One thing I've been able to realize, not even sports, just anything competitive, right? I noticed that people that had like a high school background or gymnastics in sports, gymnastics, or even I have a wakeboarder that just came out of the gate, unbelievable. Ex-soccer players, chess players. I'm a chess player, which I hate getting into an argument with because I actually need a point. I can't use any of my, whatever faux charm to get through the conversation. I just lose. So anyway, so any of these people that have been in a competitive environment like that seem to really do well. So my litmus, if I'm a serial killer, here's my type, okay? I want icon agents. I want 2 people in real estate in the same room because I know they're paying through the nose in health insurance. I want people that are selling in multiple states. I want people that get it. If you don't get EXP after I'm done with you for an hour, one of 2 things is the problem. 1, could be me, has been me. I reflect every time. 2, you're the problem. After almost 2,400 agents at this company and all the time I spent on task here, 50, 60,000 hours practicing, I'm eliminating myself as an option for the problem. You just could not like me. That I can't change, but you'll understand in an hour if you want to understand. Okay. So if you don't get it right away, I'm not going to get it for you. I just don't have the time. It'll take me the exact amount of time to have the second hour of conversation with somebody who gets it in 10 minutes. Okay. So have a litmus test of people that you're willing to work with. Okay. Once you get your front line, protect them. All right. So, a lot of people complain about uplines in this company. I've probably been one of the most vocal, if I'm being honest, right? So everything that you feel like you wish your upline gave you, even if they're dynamite, right? Everything that's missing, create it. Stop it there, right? Like when I used to work on projects with my dad, he would curse the whole time. So when I work on projects with my sons, I'm in a good mood. We listen to music. Things go wrong, we expect it, right? We're just discontinuing, and I'm not using my dad for only bad examples, but I'm just saying we discontinue it. It stops here. The pattern doesn't repeat, right? So in your revenue share, think that way. You're ultimately the leader of your business. No matter how much support or how little support you have everything that you need here. The way that Glenn created this model was that you don't have to recreate a brokerage within a brokerage. You don't have to go out there and train people every single day. You got to give people precise direction and training and support where they need it, but it's all supplemental. So once I had my front line, let's just consider it like linebackers, right? I'm the old Tom Brady. We're the same age, right? So the fact of the matter is I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get hit by a 25-year-old. I don't want to get hit by somebody who's got 100 pounds on me. My front line is super important, right? So as soon as I got 5 really, really strong, reputable, good character-based agents, I stopped for myself and I started to work on them. Let's get you guys to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And every time I felt like they could see the progress, I moved back to myself. So like you're feeding 10, 12, 13, 14 people, you take a bite. You go back, you're feeding 10, 12, 13 people, you take a bite. And what happens as your group sizes get larger, you're feeding people and you're not taking bites, but that's a good problem to have because you can go feed yourself when everybody else is nice and full. All right. And you got to balance that because you don't want to burn out. You burn out in anything that you're doing compulsively. Okay. So, all right, listen, we got a little bit of time. I just figured if anybody has a question, and trust me, don't be shy about asking it because everybody else is thinking it. I'll try to meet you where you're at right now on that part of the conversation. So unmute if you have anything. Otherwise, I'll just keep rambling. I've got more things that I could touch on.
Anybody got any questions for Rich?
Hey, Rich. Yeah. When you get people started and they're brand new, whether a new agent or an icon agent, right? How are you supporting them to grow their attraction side of the business?
Okay, so I know this is going to sound very unorthodox, but new agents, I try not to get them to bring people over. I know that's counterintuitive. The problem is they don't know the system. And then what ends up happening is every agent that they bring over that they can't fully support, not because of their character, but because of their limitations, is now an adopted child on your level 1. And it will take away from another level 1 that knows their stuff and needs your help to grow. So I have run my organization very unorthodox compared to, I guess, common advice that we've heard out there. And maybe that's limited me. I don't know. It's for your discernment. Okay, Kyle. But the fact of the matter is that you have to do 3. If you have a mentor, you're not recruiting, not on my team. Okay. Once you shed your mentor, then we can start working on it. So I've got a guy, Joel Haggart. He's got 12 agents. He's a new agent, right? He's an anomaly. He's a competitor, right? But the fact of the matter is, for the most part, I believe in the law of the lid by John Maxwell, where if there are 2, you're not going to get 4s to follow them. And one thing that we've had a problem with at EXP, and I don't think anyone's been super vocal on the outside. It's harder, like Dave's been vocal, but when Dave was in a leadership position, he has to behave in a certain way, which is why EXP would never hire me because they know I'm not capable of it, as do I. But I mean, the point is I don't have to behave that way. So here's my advice on that whole thing is basically this simple, is that if we keep getting over Uber drivers, then we look bad. That's why we're stuck at 88,000 agents. 79% of the agents that are leaving don't do more than two transactions a year, right? I'd rather be Compass and have 26,000 agents that do more volume than we do. So I have a choice. And in my organization, my choice is about production and a higher quality agent and not about numbers. And I'll give you another example of why I might be right, because I could be wrong, is that with 2,000 agents last year, I made over $1 million in revenue share. And I've seen a lot of people's organizations much larger than mine that made a lot less. Okay. So I believe it's quality. Here's the other thing. If I could fire 1,000 of my 2,370 something agents right now, and I was allowed to remove them, I would. I'd rather manage 1,000 or 1,300 agents that think the way that I do than try to be spread thin among others. Because I know almost every one of my levels 5s, 6s, and 7s. I don't know. I just do. But anyway, the point is that basically, so my son plays traveling soccer. He's 6, right? And last year he was the top scoring person in the entire traveling soccer league, and it's 6 to 8, and he was just 6. He had just turned 6, and he's small, right? He was like he had some problems right when he came out of the womb. He was in the NICU, so he was underweight. So he's catching up. So he's like 2 inches smaller than he's supposed to be, and definitely like 10 pounds less than what he's supposed to be, right? He scored 14 points last game, right? Because we fall in love with the practice, right? And one thing I realized is that what happens when he plays on the YMCA team, which is the one that I pulled him out, is that the stronger players get pulled down by the weaker players. The weaker players don't get pulled up. That's a misnomer. On the traveling team, he's about as good as everybody on that team. And now all of those 7 kids are better. They're all stronger. I watched them all blossom. So be careful who you have in your groups. I'm not saying they don't belong in an organization. Put them in the right group for them. If you play golf with somebody who shoots 120 and you're a scratch golfer, you're not going to play as good as if you play with another scratch golfer. And that's just the sad truth of life. I'm just not so emotional to where I don't acknowledge it. I believe that that's a fair observation, right? Okay, I know we're right at almost at the hour. You guys, anybody else have anything, or Dave, you think that's enough? They're probably like,
I took a whole bunch of notes myself. So yeah, I love the way that you that you see things. Your perspective is really cool. So I always appreciate it. You know, you describe some things that maybe like everyone be like, yeah, I know that, I know that, I know that, I know that. But then when you put it in a different way, it's like, oh, that's a really great way to explain it. And I think that's a lot of the key. Like you said, it's the people that go, yeah, wait, what did you just say? Right. And so if we say it in a way that captures their attention and their interest, it opens the door to the conversation. And one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is that it's always all about them, right? And so we have to be curious, and we have to, figure out what they're looking for and what they need. And sometimes they don't know. And so, you're throwing things out there until something catches their attention, but you have to say it in a way that catches their attention first. So you have permission to share the rest. So you're not just throwing on them.
I got one last thing that might help you when you get people that are rude to you, because that's our greatest fear, right? Isn't that your greatest fear when you call? For me, my greatest fear is that they're going to treat me disrespectfully. I don't know why I'm so insecure to feel that way still, but I do, right? So there's 3 things that I've been able to do really well early in a conversation that jerks them. First thing is I say, hey, listen, I would love to agree with you so our stranger relationship could blossom, but then we would both be wrong. That stops them right there on the spot, right? When people tell me they know more, or they're saying no to something they haven't heard, I mostly call guys so I can be a little bit more gruff, right? And I'll call them, I'll say, hey, listen, the world needs average men too. Go out there and keep doing it, right? Stops them dead in their tracks, right? Third part, when people are talking a lot of trash or really controversial and back and forth, and say, you have no idea how much your personality is costing you. You make a fortune if you were able to have a better awareness of how you're coming off to somebody else on the other line. You would realize the millions of dollars that you leave on the table every year. And honestly, once you're past that part of the conversation, if they're still on the line, now you're able to talk business.
Yeah.
And I know that's bold for a lot of you guys. It's bold for me. And I've had some people that haven't reacted very well. Thank God they don't know where human resources are at EXP. But the fact of the matter is that if you could be rude to me, I can defend myself. I just won't curse and I won't be inappropriate, but I will be real.
Yeah.
So, all right. So listen, I got another Zoom call at 10:30. I meet all my leaders on Friday too. If you guys want more of this, because something dysfunctional happened to you and you actually enjoyed this, I will come back anytime you guys want. Yes. Or maybe Dave and I could do something on an EXP family tree and have 500 people on these calls. Just let Dave know and he'll let me know.
Love it, man. This is awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks so much, Rich.
My pleasure, guys. Good luck. Go out there and kill it. Okay, see y'all.
I appreciate you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Here, you too.
Guys,
bye,
thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Rich is the man. I love the way he puts stuff together. I'm going to be posting this recording so you guys can check it out. We'll put it on our YouTube page, and we'll keep doing this. We've got, I know we've got Chuck Roberts is going to be speaking about agent attraction as well. We've got Cliff Freeman coming up. We've got Levi McDonald is going to be speaking. So we've got a really, really great crew lined up for the next several weeks. So I'll see you here on the next one. You guys have a great weekend.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys. Dave.